Hi, welcome back to Be Audit Secure. In this part of our series, we're discussing training. Yes, training is on the checklist for surviving that fateful day when the auditor, inspector, investigator, or litigator stops by. So, what about training? Well, we know that over certain topics we are required to train. There are some laws that say you must provide proof of training over, for instance, sexual harassment. Okay, so we definitely want to be training on that. How about things like HIPAA compliance? We are required to keep a separate set of policies and procedures over HIPAA guidelines, and we are required to train annually all of our staff. So there you go, there's HIPAA. How about OSHA guidelines? Absolutely. OSHA training in certain areas based on the type of business that you're in is absolutely required. But there is a baseline requirement for all small businesses. Whether you have one employee or 100, you're required to comply with a certain level of OSHA training every year. So, yeah, we know about some of that mandatory training, but how about the training that we sort of take for granted that nobody's beating us over the head to do? Does that mean we can blow that off? How about communication training? All kinds of soft skills, problem solving, negotiation, critical thinking. All of those things are so important to the survival of an organization. As a matter of fact, there have been Supreme Court cases that have shown if the employer had even made non-mandatory training available, maybe the worker didn't take advantage of it, but it was just available, then the court case against that employer would have gone much better. So we have to think about that. How do we view training in our organization? I would argue that our organizations need to have a culture of training, a training culture. However you want to say that, training needs to be one of our cornerstones of our foundational way of thinking in our organization. So, do we have a training culture in our organization? Well, that's a good question to ask. And if we want to survive on that fateful day, then the answer needs to be yes. We are definitely an organization that values training. So think about it. Training is important. Communication is important. All of the auditing pieces we've been discussing are important. But if a person has never been trained, then we go back to square one. If we're not trained, how do we know, right? Like I said in a previous segment, you don't know what you know until you know you know. No, I don't know because nobody's ever trained me. So think about it. Does your culture support training? And what does it mean to have a culture in your organization? We'll cover those on another video. But for now, I'm Lisa Smith. Until next time, be audit secure.